Alright, so on the internet, actually many people complain a lot about stalls, right? Whether they call it pad stall or DA stall. And there are actually three types of stall, right? The first one we're going to talk about is orbital stall, which is where the pad does not transfer the orbital movement to the bottom as efficiently. So while the orbital, the backing plate is spinning like this, at the bottom of the pad, maybe it's spinning slower, right? So this is probably due to the thickness of the pad. As you can see, these are rotary pads. And when we compare them to DA pads, you can see they're thinner. So the DA pads are thinner so that they can efficiently transfer the orbital motion to the bottom of the surface. So get the right pad for your machine. Now in this video, we're not really going to be focusing on the orbital stall. We're going to be focusing on the rotational stall. This is a stall that, as I mentioned, most people complain about. And they do have a right to complain, right? Since it is called a dual action polisher. So it should orbit and rotate at the same time. Dual action, right? But is it that important? Let's test it out. So first, I'm going to demonstrate how do we get rotational stall. As you can see, when I start to press, the pad spins slower, right? If I lift the machine a little bit to reduce the pressure, you can see that the pad spins faster. Or if I press on a certain angle, on a different angle, when it's angled, the pad will stop spinning or slow down significantly. This is especially prominent when we are polishing concave angles. Alright, so what I have here is a polished panel. I'm going to introduce a controlled amount of defects with 2000 grit sandpaper. So I'm just going to be sanding 2 spots. I'm going to give it an equal amount of strokes, and I know it's not perfectly controlled, but I'll try my best to be as consistent as possible, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 19, 20. Okay. 17, 14, 19, 20. Okay. Right, so on one part, I'm going to be polishing to maximize for rotation, and on the other part, I'll be polishing to, as usual, you know, I'll be applying a little bit of pressure and to get maximum surface contact of the pad to the surface. One minute. Okay, stop. So as you can see, there's an immediate difference in terms of the polish residue. This part is a little bit more wider and this is more transparent. Okay, on this panel, as you can see, this is the one where I did not put pressure on the machine and where I am maximizing rotation of the pad. As you can see, there's still quite a lot of sanding marks. That's number one. Number two is you can still see quite a lot of micro marring, the orbital recut from the abrasive. Alright, so this is actually not recut. If I were to slide onto the other side where I applied pressure, okay, this is good. Let me just get it in focus. Alright, so on this part, you can see we managed to remove quite a lot of sanding marks. The funny thing is I applied pressure on this part, but the micro marring is finer. This is because the optimal polishing performance has managed to break down the abrasive. Okay, so I'm just going to demonstrate again on an actual car. Here we have a Proton X70. On this rear quarter panel, you will see that there's a slight concave curvature on this panel right here. So what I'm going to do here first, I'm going to just scratch it up with our more traditional compound, which is number 50. And on a rotary and a micro wool pad. And you're seeing a lot of holograms and rotary swirls right now. Yep, that's beautiful. Alright, so I'm going to try to remove these defects with our NaO38. our DA and our micro finishing wool. The pad is primed. So the difference now is I'm gonna try to polish to maximize rotation rather than pressure or speed or things like that. Speed will be kept constant at speed 3. So here we go. And hopefully you can see the pad spinning from these black marks around the pad. All right. Alright, so when I'm trying to polish to maximize rotation, on some spots where I felt that the pad slowed down in rotation, I kind of lifted the pressure so that it spins even faster. So I'm just going to wipe it down with IPA and let's check out the results. Alright, so as we can still see some tiny scratches, although most of the holograms or rotary swirls are out, but not all of the scratches have been removed. So now I'm gonna redo the process. I'm just gonna recreate the swirls with the same combination. Now the difference is when I'm going to be polishing the DA right now is I won't really care about the rotational spin of the pad. Okay, I'm going to focus on maintaining maximum contact with the paint and applying pressure, which maintains maximum contact, right? Because the primary polishing action comes from the orbiting action and not the rotational action from a free spinning DA. Okay, here we go. Speed 3 is the same. Alright, we can even see that the polish took a shorter time to break down. As you can see, the residue is kind of transparent and clear. Compared to the first time where I did to maximize rotation, you can still see the residue is kind of cloudy and whitish. So this one, we can say that the polishing cycle for this has been completed faster, depending on where you're watching this from. Alright, so it's pretty obvious for free spinning DAs such as ours, or even for any other brands for that matter, that the primary polishing action comes from the orbiting or oscillating action and not really from the rotational action. So do not worry if your pad isn't spinning while you're polishing with a free spinning DA such as ours. So no worries, just keep on polishing, maintain maximum contact, apply pressure and maintain maximum contact with the pad and the surface that you're polishing. Alright guys, so if you like the video, please give us a like, share and subscribe if you haven't. And if you have any other topics that you would like us to cover, please put it in the comment section below. And I'll see you in the next one.